This is Pastor Mark Fishburne with another Ministry Minute. On these Ministry Minutes, we've endeavored to give you some ways that you can be a blessing, minister to others, both inside our church family as well as outside of our church family. And I've given you some assignments. And last week, we gave you an assignment from the Psalms, from a certain passage from Psalms, and asked you to read through it, to meditate on it, and see how God has blessed you in the middle of the night, and other ways that were mentioned in that psalm. And then I also asked you to jot down a few ways that God could use you to minister to others in some of those specific ways. And by the way, I had 2 people respond that they did their assignment. Only 2 people so far, but I have something special for them for carrying out that assignment. If you didn't do it yet, you can still do it. Go back and look at the last Ministry Minute and get the details on that. But as we think about ministry, I said from the beginning, ministry is something that ought to happen every single day in our life. We ought to find ways to minister to other people. And this morning from Matthew chapter 20, Jesus gives us a reminder here. He says, Jesus called them unto him, and Jesus said, ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. And the Bible talks about those who want to be exalted need to humble themselves. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. If we want to be truly great, if we want to be chief among them, if you will, in the sight of God, then we need to humble ourselves. We need to be a minister to many. Just as Jesus, it says, came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. And that ought to be our objective. Again, to find ways to minister to other people. So I've tried to give you some ways to do that. And this morning, I'm going to give you another possibility. If you could, in these next couple of days, either bake some home-baked goods, very simple thing, cookies, whatever it is, but something simple from things you have on hand. And think of at least 3 people that you know would be especially blessed by receiving those goodies. And then, and by the way, if you don't want to bake, you can go to the store and pick up goodies next time you go to the grocery store, and then you're out on one of those essential trips. But anyway, get a goodie bag, put it on somebody's porch, ring the doorbell, and run. Now, I shouldn't probably admit this, but when in my younger years, we did that a few times, but we didn't leave any goodies. So I didn't leave anything bad either, but it was just ring the doorbell and ditch, it was kind of thing. But so similar, but you're going to leave some goodies, maybe a little note for them. And you can put your name on there if you want so they know who it's from. But just leave a goodie on their steps. You might want to make sure that they're home first. Make that they're home so some other critters don't find your goodies. But 3 people. And think about it a little bit. 3 people you think would be especially blessed by receiving a goodie bag on their porch. And you don't have to ring and run, but that's the idea. Let them know you're coming perhaps, but leave some goodies there. And just one final word for our church people. You know where I live. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Find some other people that would be blessed by receiving those goodies. And make that your ministry for the next couple of days, your project of ministry for the next couple of days. Again, just to remind people that they are cared about and they are loved. And just do what God will allow us to do at this time to be a special blessing, minister to other people's lives. Thank you. And we will see you. By the way, tomorrow night, we will again stream our service, 7 o'clock. We had a blessing on Sunday, by the way, our drive-in service, and what a blessing it was to see those who could gather there in our parking lot in their cars, and we will continue that next Sunday morning, 10:30. Tomorrow night's going to be a little bit chilly, in the 20s or so, to have a drive-in service, so we'll just go ahead and stream our Bible study at 7 o'clock. But next Sunday, we'll plan on meeting at 10:30 again in our parking lot. Very similar. You'll drive in, and you will stay in your cars, except those who are involved in the service. But you'll be able to listen from the comfort of your car, and we'll plan on that until we can gather back in the church house itself. But thank you again, and God bless you, and get to work, get to baking, or get to planning on what you're going to do to leave treats for those 3 people. God bless.